This bear had lived alone its entire life. Watch what happens the moment it sees another bear for the first time. How would you feel if you spent your entire life not just removed from your family and friends, but without ever coming into contact with a single member of your species? Whilst this is a question many of us might not like to ponder about, it was one sad bear's reality for years. The bear in this story had originally started off his life like any normal wild animal. He had been born in the forests of Albania to a wild mother bear, but he only got to experience this nature and wildlife for a short period of time. Unfortunately, when he was just a cub, he was stolen from his mother as well as his natural habitat by poachers and placed inside a tiny cage all by himself. For years, this beautiful brown bear was all alone, not once encountering another animal except for his human captors, who were anything but kind and loving. It is not known why the people took the bear from his mother. However, it is likely that they were using him as a sort of attraction which people would pay money to come and see. This isn't an unusual occurrence in places like Albania, as many people see it as a quick and easy way to make money. Fortunately, in 2016, a team of animal rescuers from an animal rescue organization called Four Paws got wind of the bear's situation and immediately set about to help the poor creature. It was in December 2016 when the organization received an urgent request for help from the Albanian Veterinary Inspectorate. In a small mountain village, a young bear was said to be in imminent danger. The owner was no longer willing nor able to care for the animal, and if the Four Paws organization didn't act fast, then they risked the life of the bear. The rescue team didn't know what to expect from the situation. When they arrived at the bear's location, they were absolutely horrified to discover the poor conditions that the animal was being held in. The rescuers found the 2-year-old bear tied to the wall in a small shack next to the owner's house. The space was so small that the animal could barely move or turn around. As well as that, the rescuer also noted how little food and water the creature had, and they were amazed that the bear had managed to live so long already. As the rescue team approached, they noticed that the bear was very distressed and in panic. He was trying to free himself from the tight chain constricting him. Four Paws acted immediately and contacted Tirana Zoo, which was willing to take over the bear temporarily. When the bear's heart-wrenching story finally leaked online, the poor creature, who rescuers would come to know as Riku, was dubbed Europe's saddest bear. Not long after being rescued, Riku, whose young life had been marked by suffering, was safely transferred on 3 May 2017 by a Four Paws team to Bear Sanctuary Belitsa, run by Four Paws in cooperation with Foundation Brigitte Bardot. Due to international transport regulations, the journey went via Macedonia and Greece. This meant many hours on the road for one of Europe's saddest bears and the Four Paws team. Finally, after many days of travel, they arrived at Riku's new home in Bulgaria. Once at his new home, Riku was given a health check by the shelter's vet. Thankfully, the animal was given the okay by the vet, with there being only a few things that he was really concerned about. This mainly being the animal's weight, or lack thereof. Luckily, this was something that could easily be fixed with a bit of tender love and care. With the health check complete, Riku was eventually let out into his new enclosure. The Four Paws bear expert, Karsten Hertwig, released a statement to update the public on the bear's condition. Riku was first released into the indoor area of his enclosure. Once he had recovered from his long journey and got used to his new environment, we released him into the outdoor enclosure. Watching him experience his new home was a wonderful moment for all of us. He was so relaxed and peaceful. Our aim is to eventually socialize Riku with other bears. When we can start this process, though, entirely depends on his character and behavior. Soon, Riku was settled in his new environment, which the bear absolutely adored, as he was finally able to run through the grass and swim through water like any bear should naturally be able to do. Rescuers then decided that he was finally ready to be introduced to other members of his species. Nobody was entirely sure of how the animal, who had spent his entire life in solitary confinement so far, would react. So the team decided to take things slow to make sure that neither animal got hurt should either one take a dislike towards the other. The bear that the park had chosen to introduce Riku to was a 22-year-old female called Gabriella. Like lots of animals who are forced to perform in circuses, Gabriella's life had been one filled with pain and suffering. She knew exactly what Riku had gone through, as she had experienced it for herself. In fact, she had even lost one of her paws because of how she was treated. It was possibly this shared experience of trauma which allowed the two bears to form such a strong bond with each other so quickly. For weeks before the two animals were allowed to freely be with each other, they would interact through a wire mesh fence which separated them. They would pace up and down the fence as if frustrated that they couldn't actually get to each other. As well as that, both Riku and Gabriella would go right up to the fence and poke their noses through it so that the other bear could rub their nose against it. It wasn't long before the rescuers realized that the two animals really liked each other and that they were ready to finally be allowed to interact with one another without any fencing in the way. In fact, despite being an older lady, Riku seemed to have fallen in love with Gabriella, and he couldn't wait until he could finally meet her properly. In a video documenting the two bears' first meeting, they were seen instantly nuzzling up to one another. It was as if, now that the two animals were finally able to be with each other without anything in the way, they were giving each other a hug to express just how much affection and compassion they felt for one another. After their hug, Riku and Gabriella started to play around with each other. They began to push and playfully bite one another and generally just play wrestle. It was almost as if the two were forgetting all of their pain and traumatic early lives and were just having fun in their new lives with each other. It can be very nerve-wracking introducing two bears for the first time, but Riku's and Gabriella's meeting was magical. The animal park spokeswoman Jetta Lapaja said, once they were acquainted though, the pair reportedly did not stop playing with each other, and they struck up a romantic relationship. They never stopped touching one another or playing together. They were and are totally inseparable, Lapaja said. If one of them wanted to swim in the pond, the other would follow. If one of them ate their meal, the other would do the same. The two animals were inseparable and spent every minute that they could together. But unfortunately, in 2019, the inevitable happened to Gabriella. At the age of 23, the female bear sadly passed away. Thankfully, she was able to live the last part of her life in comfort, safety, and with the best friend she could have possibly asked for. As for Riku, whilst he was sad by the loss of his partner, he is still living happily at the rescue center and enjoying his new life with every fiber of his being. He has since been introduced to other bears so that he won't have to live in solitude ever again. What amazing people to carry out these kinds of rescue missions. Let me know what you thought about the video in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring content.